Welcome back to Major Antonio's presentation of The Story of Extinct Civilizations of the West by Robert E. Anderson. Chapter 10, Pizarro and the Incas.
When stout-hearted Balboa first reached the summit of the Isthmus Range and looked south over the Bay of Panama, he might have seen the Silver Bell, which forms the summit of the mighty volcano Chimborazo. Still farther south in the same direction lay the land of gold, of which he had heard. Balboa was unjustly prevented from exploring that unknown country, but among the Spanish soldiers in Panama, there were two who determined to carry out Balboa's scheme. The younger, Pizarro, was destined to rival Cortés as explorer and conqueror. Almagro, his companion in the expedition, was less crafty and cruel. Sailing from Panama, the Spanish first landed on the coast below Quito and found the natives wearing gold and silver trinkets. On a second voyage, with more men, they explored the coast of Peru and visited Tumbes, a town with a lofty temple and a palace for the Incas. Quote, "They beheld a country fully peopled and cultivated. The natives were decently clothed and possessed of ingenuity, so far surpassing the other inhabitants of the New World as to have the use of tame domestic animals. But what chiefly attracted the notice of the visitors was such a show of gold and silver, not only in ornaments, but in several vessels and utensils for common use, formed of those precious metals as left no room to doubt that they abounded with profusion in the country." Unquote. After his return, Pizarro visited Spain and secured the patronage of Charles V, who appointed him governor and captain general of the newly discovered country. In the next voyage from Panama, Pizarro set sail with 180 soldiers in 3 small ships, a contemptible force surely to invade the great empire of Peru. Pizarro was very fortunate in the time of his arrival, because 2 brothers were fiercely contending in civil war to obtain the sovereignty. Their father, Huayna Capac, the 12th Inca in succession from Manco Capac, had recently died after annexing the kingdom of Quito, and thus doubling the power of the empire. Pizarro made friends with Atahualpa, who had become Inca by the defeat and death of his brother, and a friendly meeting was arranged between them. The Peruvians are thus described by a Spanish onlooker. First of all, there arrived 400 men in uniform. The Inca himself, on a couch, adorned with plumes and almost covered with plates of gold and silver, enriched with precious stones, was carried on the shoulders of his principal attendants. Several bands of singers and dancers accompanied the procession, and the whole plain was covered with troops, more than 30,000 men. After engaging in a religious dispute with the Inca, who refused to acknowledge the authority of the Pope and threw the breviary on the ground, the Spanish chaplain exclaimed indignantly that the word of God had been insulted by a heathen. Quote, "Pizarro instantly gave the signal of assault. The martial music struck up, the cannon and muskets began to fire, the horse rallied out fiercely to the charge, the infantry rushed on sword in hand. The Peruvians, astonished at the suddenness of the attack, dismayed with the effect of the firearms and the irresistible impression of the cavalry, fled with universal consternation on every side. Pizarro, at the head of his chosen band, soon penetrated to the royal seat, and seizing the Inca by the arm, carried him as a prisoner to the Spanish quarters." Unquote. For his ransom, Atahualpa agreed to pay a weight of gold amounting to more than 5 million sterling. Instead of keeping faith with the Inca by restoring him to liberty, Pizarro basely allowed him to be tried on several false charges and condemned to be burned alive. After hearing of the enormous ransom, many Spaniards hurried from Guatemala, Panama, and Nicaragua to share in the newly discovered booty of Peru, the land of gold. Pizarro, therefore, being now greatly reinforced with soldiers, forced his way to Cusco, the capital. The riches found there exceeded in value what had been received as Atahualpa's ransom. As governor of Peru, Pizarro chose a new site for his capital, nearer the coast than Cusco, and there founded Lima. It is now a great center of trade. Pizarro lived here in great state till the year 1542, when his fate reached him by means of a party of conspirators seeking to avenge the death of Almagro, his former rival, whom he had cruelly executed as a traitor. On Sunday, June 26th, at midday, while all Lima was quiet under the siesta, the conspirators passed unobserved through the 2 outer courts of the palace, and speedily dispatched the soldier-adventurer, intrepidly defending himself with a sword and buckler. A deadly thrust full in the throat, and the tale of daring Pizarro was told. Raro antecedentem celestum deseruit pede poena clado. When did doom, though lame, not bide its time, to clutch the nape of skulking crime? Gladstone.
This concludes the story of extinct civilizations of the West, by Robert E. Anderson. We hope you've enjoyed this volume. For more military history audiobooks, visit Intonio.net and subscribe to Major Antonio's YouTube channel. Thank you for listening, and so long.